to both Prime Minister Albanese and Prime Minister Wale. What is your response to China's missile launch, and what message are they sending to the region?
You want to go first? Sure. We have made clear our concerns to China in both Beijing and in Canberra, and I'm making our concerns clear here as well in Honiara. We don't want to see any action that is destabilising or which undermines the peace, security and stability of the Pacific and the region. And there is no doubt that this is a provocative act by China which does destabilise the region. And therefore, we will put forward our strong view. We have said consistently that we want to cooperate with China where we can. We'll disagree where we must, and we'll engage in our national interests. This is one of those occasions where we must disagree with this action. And in particular, we point out that it is standard procedure for tests such as this for there to be given 48 hours notice. This was not done on this occasion.
A submarine launches a nuclear-capable missile with zero warning, and somehow it is Australia's Prime Minister standing next to a Pacific Island leader looking like a calm one's in the room. Right, quick favour before we get into this one. If you are enjoying these breakdowns, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. Over 90% of you watching haven't yet, and it genuinely helps this channel keep going. Costs nothing, takes a second, means the world. Cheers if you did. Now, here is what actually happened. China fired off an intercontinental ballistic missile, nuclear-capable, launched straight from a nuclear-powered submarine somewhere out in the Pacific. No heads-up, no courtesy call, just a missile in the sky where fishing boats and small island nations usually mind their own business. Standard international practice says you give 48 hours notice before this sort of test. China gave 0. Imagine your neighbour setting off fireworks in your backyard at 3 in the morning and calling it a misunderstanding.
Yes, thank you. China is a good friend of Solomon Islands, but this is not something a friend does. This is not good in our region. And as chair of Pacific Islands Forum, I've expressed registered my strong protest yesterday with the ambassador. Solomon Islands also lodged a protest note. But we don't want to see any more countries, China, America, anybody. We don't want anybody testing the ICBMs in the Pacific Islands region. That's the bottom line. Be our friend, but don't threaten us.
Solomon Islands.
Good afternoon to both of you Prime Ministers. Yes, my name is Stephanie Titili. I am from Power FM. Now, my question is towards you, Honourable Prime Minister Albanese. Now, with the recent signing of the Nakama Agreement between you, Australia, and Vanuatu just last month, is Australia also considering signing a similar agreement with us, Solomon Islands, very soon?
We want to fast-track negotiations as soon as possible. It's about the outcome, of course, as well. We want quality, not at the expense of rushing things. But we've had now very constructive discussions that began with my cabinet in Canberra when Prime Minister Wale visited with senior members of his team. The respective foreign ministers will continue to negotiate on these issues, and I look forward to a constructive outcome. I think both sides come at this with goodwill, recognising that our respective national sovereignty is important, but also recognising that working together we can be stronger. Australia. Okay?
And this is not coming out of nowhere. Just last month, Australia signed the Nakama Agreement with Vanuatu, and now Solomon Islands is next in line, with both sides fast-tracking negotiations while insisting on getting it right rather than getting it quick. Albanese kept circling back to one consistent Australian position, bipartisan and unmoving: support for nuclear non-proliferation, not expansion. His entire approach to China gets summed up in one sharp line: cooperate where possible, disagree where necessary, always act in the national interest. And this, according to both leaders, is exactly the moment for disagreement.
Thank you, Prime Ministers. Ben Packham from the Australian newspaper. Mr Wale, what does your proposal for a regional security pact with Australia look like? What are you suggesting? And are you at all deterred in this endeavour by the missile test? And if I could ask Mr Albanese, the US says China is fuelling nuclear proliferation. What's your response?
Well, thank you. It is important. There are some gaps in the regional architecture. There is a review currently underway at the PIF level, so we're waiting some outcomes of that review. But there are some clear gaps, and intelligence sharing is a critical one. And given the trafficking of illicit material substances through the Pacific, targeting Australia and New Zealand, of course, but it comes through the Pacific, where Fiji, for instance, has become a destination in some of that stuff. That's obviously part of what we want to see. Of course, we watch with interest the agreement that yesterday signed between Fiji and Australia with regards to mutual defence and so forth. Not all countries in the Pacific Islands have defence forces, so that's something that we'll continue to consider. Sorry,
Are you deterred by the missile test?
Well, in many ways, the missile test is further evidence for the need for a regional platform so that the region can speak as one. It will allow some countries, not all the countries in the Pacific are not all on the same level of strength and may not want to speak up when things like this happen. But a regional platform will allow cover and allow for much greater sharing of intelligence and information so we can be advocating better for Pacific-wide issues.
Now, here is where it gets interesting. This is not just about one missile. This is about the entire Pacific realizing it needs a united front. Think of it like a neighborhood where every house has a different lock and no one talks to each other. One burglar can waltz through the whole street. Wales is pushing hard for a proper regional security pact with Australia, covering intelligence sharing and maritime defence, because plenty of Pacific nations simply do not have standing defence forces to fall back on.
To your question, Ben, part of our concern here isn't just the lack of notice that occurred. It is the fact that this was a test of a nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile fired from a nuclear-powered submarine. That is of real concern because what we need is a less nuclear weapons, certainly not more. And the fact that this test took place yesterday with very little notice is of real concern. And so we join that as part of the concerns that we will express is the nature of the weapon that was tested that has a capacity clearly to reach at long range and to cause considerable damage were it to be weaponised. So we'll continue to advocate strongly, but advocate as well consistent with our view when it comes to the use of nuclear weapons. It's very clear and has been consistent and has indeed been a bipartisan approach for Australia for a long period of time. Thank you very much.